Welcome to our Alaskan Adventure Part 5. This part was broken into two different sections, the first being Skagway Lake to Skagway, and the second being a ferry ride from Skagway to Haines. The drive takes you through the coastal mountains of British Columbia and Alaska and has to be one of the most beautiful mountain drives I've ever taken. The highway is called the Klondike Highway, and it roughly parallels the route taken by the prospectors in the 1898 Klondike Gold Rush. Prior to the White Pass Railroad being completed, the Klondike prospectors had to carry their heavy loads up a grueling 3,000-foot pass and then down into the lake below. Once the prospectors reached the lake, they would build rafts that would take them and the gear through a series of lakes and rivers to the gold fields of Dawson City. The scenery becomes more and more beautiful as you head up the eastern side of White Pass. Further up the pass, we stopped at this roadside business that had a suspension bridge over the Tutshee River. The business had a little gift shop as well as a restaurant, which we didn't partake in. It also had an outdoor display where they talked about the animals in the area as well as the local fauna. It also talked about a few prospectors who tried to shave a few days off their trip to Dawson City and built their rafts prior to these rapids. They never made it. We stopped at a pull-off near the top. You can see the White Pass Railroad below us. Tracy's picture showed the beauty much better than my video.
Well, we topped the pass and we crossed the U.S. border. So this is what it looks like going down the other side. These massive mountains everywhere. Right at the very top of the tree line here. Right back there where you see through the rocks back over there is where the U.S. border is. There's a welcome to Alaska sign there. We should go take a selfie there, Tracy.
And here is the selfie. Here's a look at Skagway as we drove in that day. We were told by one of the locals that this was the place to eat. We enjoyed it so much we ate there both nights that we stayed there. Interestingly enough, it's right next to the cruise ships, but none of the people on the cruises went here. They went into the tourist traps inside town. Later that evening, we went on an enjoyable hike across the river. The next day, we went on the White Pass Railroad, which is always mentioned in the world's greatest railroad trips. In 1897, a group of investors got together to build a railroad from Skagway to Dawson City. On July 21st, 1898, a 4-mile stretch of the railroad was completed to haul passengers from Skagway. This was the first operating railroad in Alaska. Mid-February 1899, the railroad reached Benton, British Columbia, which was at the top of the White Pass. By July 29th, 1900, the last spike was driven, completing the railroad from Skagway to Dawson City. The narrow gauge railroad required 450 tons of explosives to build just through the White Pass. The clearance between the walls and the train in some spots are as low as 8 inches. The railroad passes by many waterfalls and streams as it makes its way up the pass. The scenic vistas increase as you ascend towards the pass. Note the Klondike Highway on the other side.
No, that's good. Got her smile. Look at that thing.
Look at that. Wow. What a rickety.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I thought so.
And they redid it too, because you can see the concrete stuff and the steel. I bet this is all originally wood. Is this open all year round, this train?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think so. It's two tunnels, right?
Whoa.
Oh, look at the water here.
I love that bridge.
Yeah. I like the old bridge.
Yeah, that's what
It's got soap.
Oh, did you really?
There's a leak in there, yeah.
It's a leaky roof, huh?
After we passed through that tunnel, the scenery definitely changed. A lot more snow and ice. We saw drifts as high as 10 feet tall. The train track splits shortly after you cross the Canadian border.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's a frozen lake.
Yeah.
Frozen lake.
That's the obelisk crossing back over in the U.S. from Canada.
Are we going down now?
Yeah.
When did we turn around?
Back up there, we turned around.
Was it a big loop?
I could tell we were turning.
As we start heading down White Pass towards Skagway, we get the same views, different perspective, but no less spectacular.
Oh, look at this.
Something. Oh my God.
About 9 miles east of Skagway lies the ghost town of Dyea. Prior to the completion of the White Pass Railroad, Dyea rivaled the size of Skagway with over 150 businesses and hundreds of residents. At the time, there's two ways for the prospectors to reach Dawson City. One is through the White Pass, and the second way is through the Chilkoot Pass. Dyea was at the base of the Chilkoot Pass. After the completion of the White Pass Railroad, Dyea died as quickly as it started. About the only thing left of Dyea is the remnants of the wharf that stretched almost 2 miles across the Dyea Flat. On April 3rd, 1898, the Palm Sunday avalanche occurred near Dyea and buried its victims under 30 feet of snow. Although no one knows for sure how many people perished, it's believed about 80 are buried in this cemetery. The black ship you see is the ferry that we took to Haines. To get on the ferry, we had to drive down the ramp and then back into the ferry. I wish I had Tracy videotape the loading because it was quite the feat. The ferry ride was quite scenic and it took about an hour.
So we made it past the ferry and now we're spending the night, or actually 2 nights here, at Chilkoot State Recreation Area. So here's our campsite. Very well wooded area. Back here there's a beautiful lake. We'll go look at the lake here in a second. So this is Chilkoot Lake. Yeah, beautiful. It's and now it's a little after 8 o'clock. The sun's about ready to set over the hills here, but it's just beautiful. It's amazing when you look up here and see how much water is flowing down. I don't know if you can see it, but right over here there is several waterfalls right there, and the water is cascading down here. They supposedly have a pretty large bear population in this area that comes down to feed on the spawning salmon. So it's not uncommon when they're running here and spawning here to see 10 to 20, 30 bears, both black and grizzly bears.
Thank you for watching part 5 of our adventure. Part 6 will take us to Valdez, Alaska.